Restishing for veterans. English version. Clean. Format. Firm. Emotional. Cinematic. A veteran walks into a convenience store. Medals on his chest, each one earned with blood. Got those off eBay, huh? A young clerk chuckles. The entire store falls silent. No one speaks up. But just 10 minutes later, that very store would be surrounded by military units because they had no idea who that veteran truly was. This is not just another story. This is one of those veteran stories people have forgotten or tried to forget. And today, Justice for Veterans reminds us all, silence in the face of injustice is also an act. And in this video, you'll see exactly what happens when a veteran is disrespected. His name is James Holloway, 68 years old. Thin frame, silver wisps of hair like smoke, but his eyes still carry the sharpness of war. He walks into the store with a display box in his hands. Inside, a Purple Heart, a Distinguished Service Cross, and several other medals. Not heavy because of weight, but because of memory. The screen fades to black and white. Flames, bullets whizzing, screams in the trenches. James drags a wounded young soldier out of a kill zone, blood-soaked, but he keeps going. Today, he's en route to Fort Benning to attend the 50th anniversary of the Firebase Ripcord battle. But before that, he just wanted a cup of coffee. And maybe a moment of peace. Whoa, you wear those for the veterans discount or what? Dylan Parker, a store clerk in his 20s, loudly chewing gum behind the counter. He eyes James with a mix of suspicion and sarcasm. You serious, old man? Looks more like Halloween cosplay from eBay than real medals. The store goes silent. A young mother pulls her child away. An older man looks at James, then turns his face, saying nothing. James grips the glass box tighter. His fingers tremble not from age, but from pain. He says nothing, just lowers his head and turns away. But one man remains standing, not laughing, not leaving, and he saw everything. James pushes open the glass door. A soft ding sounds, like a final chime for honor just insulted. Outside, the air is crisp. He stands still in the parking lot, hand pressed to the metal case against his chest. Those words from earlier echo in his mind, like distant gunfire from the past. Where'd you buy those? Old men always make stuff up. Words meant as jokes feel more like blades cutting where it hurts most. Pride. James opens the case, staring at each medal. Everyone tied to a fallen brother, a near-death escape, a sleepless night. But he doesn't feel angry. He just feels sorrow, because he knows the real pain doesn't come from mockery. It comes from the silence. In a shadowed corner of the store, a middle-aged man stood still, holding a steaming cup of coffee. Simple jacket, khaki pants, polished leather shoes. No one noticed him, just another customer. But his eyes were anything but ordinary. Those eyes didn't just see. They remembered. He had heard every word Dylan spoke, saw every look turned away, watched every step James took as he exited in silence. No sigh, no frown. He simply pulled out his phone and typed a short, cryptic message. Situation at West Point Mart. Activate 1. Alpha. He placed the coffee cup back on the counter and walked out without a word. The message was sent in 3 seconds. No emoji, no signature, just 5 words. Activate 1. Alpha. Urgent. A control desk. Dozens of monitors. A red alert begins flashing. Priority protocol. Command authority Tradoc. Location. West Point Mart. Contact regional command. Deploy response unit. Code 1. Alpha confirmed. Meanwhile, Dylan is still behind the counter, opening TikTok, scrolling, still laughing about the cosplaying old man. No one in the store knew the storm that was coming, and none of them realized the man who just walked out was one of the most powerful figures in the United States military. 10 minutes passed. The sun hadn't changed. The sky remained softly golden, but the air was different. Screech! Thud. 4 black SUVs screeched to a synchronized stop outside the store. Doors flung open out, stepped soldiers in digital camouflage, boots striking pavement in unison. A military police vehicle angled at the corner, red and blue lights rotating slowly. An officer raised a loudspeaker. All customers exit the store immediately. This is a tactical readiness inspection. Dylan looked up from his phone. He scoffed. What's this? A cosplay parade? But no one laughed. The officers entered firm steps, eyes fixed forward. One of them touched his earpiece, spoke quietly. Local asset identified, closing in, and through the door walked the man from before. But this time, he wore a uniform, 4 gleaming stars on his shoulders, and everyone stood at attention. He entered, saying nothing, needing nothing. All eyes turned to his uniform, 4 silver stars on each shoulder, the TRADOC insignia, badge of the United States Army's commanding general. No one dared breathe loudly. A female staffer backed away. The manager's face turned pale. Dylan still didn't get it. He forced a nervous laugh. Okay, what's this? Some drill or something? The general turned to him, slowly, each step like cutting through tension itself. And then he spoke. What's your name? Dylan Parker, sir. General McAllister nodded, pulled a slim folder from his coat, opened it. On the cover, a younger photo of James Holloway. Inside, a classified file decorated with achievements. You just insulted a living legend of the United States Army. And you're about to learn the consequence isn't who he is. It's that you forgot what should always be respected. I want to hear exactly what you said to Sergeant James Holloway. I was just joking. It wasn't serious. I didn't mean any harm. Repeat every word. You buy those on Amazon? Looks like Halloween cosplay. Delusional old man. You call that a joke? Every sentence Dylan had said now echoed like slaps in a room thick with regret. A female clerk covered her mouth. An elderly shopper quietly set his basket down. I'm not angry because you mocked him. I'm angry because none of you stopped you. Heads bowed. The oxygen seemed drained from the air. McAllister stepped aside, gestured to the open glass door. He's still out there. If you have any courage left, go apologize. James Holloway is not some old man looking for sympathy. He is a soldier. Vietnam, 1970. The Battle of Firebase Ripcord, over 200 American soldiers killed in 23 days. James was a sergeant then. During a counterattack, his unit was ambushed from 3 directions. Under heavy fire, he carried wounded comrades on his back to safety. Once, then went back again. 37 lives were saved, because one man refused to fall back. McAllister opened the folder, pulled out an old photograph, placed it on the counter. It showed James lying in a hospital bed, wrapped in bandages, but still raising his hand in salute, as President Richard Nixon leaned in to pin a medal on his chest. Eyes half closed, arm trembling, but not lowering. A soldier doesn't need to speak. They let their actions speak for them. True honor doesn't need to be shown off, but it must be defended. Effective immediately, no service member of the United States Army nor their families are allowed to enter this store. The store manager's jaw dropped. The female clerk looked around but dared not speak. Dylan turned pale. This wasn't a bluff. It was an internal directive from TRADOC, the Army's Training and Doctrine Command. Its impact? Thousands of military families in the area would stop shopping here. Veteran associations, Gold Star families, all would receive formal notice by day's end. Reputation lost. Can't be bought back with a discount. This isn't just punishment. It's a reminder. Respect is not optional. The manager, trembling, turned to Dylan, and what came next was inevitable. The store manager stepped out, eyes lowered, holding a clipboard. voice barely a thread. "Dylan, pack your things. You're being terminated. Immediately." Dylan said nothing, eyes fixed on the floor, lips pressed tight, but no apology came out. Termination is your store's business. Honor is ours. Camera angle from behind, Dylan slowly removing his name tag. It fell onto the counter with a soft clack, like the sound of a door closing. Some lessons don't offer a second chance, and some wounds can't be healed with a termination form. But McAllister wasn't done. He had something left to leave behind. McAllister didn't say another word. He simply opened the leather briefcase in his hand, took something out, and placed it on the counter. An old photograph, yellowed with time, laminated in plastic. In the photo, James Holloway, lying in a hospital bed, his face bandaged, blood seeping through the gauze, but his right hand was raised in salute, facing the flag. Beside him, President Richard Nixon, leaning in, pinning a medal to his chest. This photo was never printed in the press, not because he wasn't worthy, but because he never needed applause. The store went completely silent. An elderly customer wiped his eyes. A female clerk turned away, dabbing at her lashes. Dylan couldn't look at the photo. "You said those medals were fake. Then tell me, that wound, was that fake too?" No one answered. That question fell heavy, like a stone dropped into still water. Everyone stood motionless, not out of fear, but shame. Dylan's head was down, his fists clenched, but he couldn't say a word. James Holloway was still outside. By now, a soft rain had begun. Raindrops dotted the glass door. He didn't step inside, didn't walk away either. He simply stood there, staring at the photo through the window. McAllister walked slowly toward him. No orders, no rank, just one soldier, approaching another. "I'm sorry, Sergeant Holloway. On behalf of those who came after you, for today's silence." James nodded. Not a single word, but his eyes spoke forgiveness. McAllister turned back. One final message for those in the store, and for those watching. McAllister turned, but this time, he didn't look at anyone. He looked straight into the security camera lens and spoke to you, the one watching this. Respect isn't something we recall once a year on Veterans Day. It's something we live every single day. Some came home from war, wearing medals. Some came home carrying scars. And some never came home at all. But all of them deserve one simple thing: silent respect. Because sometimes silence is a way of standing at attention. He didn't look back, but we must never look away. If you believe that honor has no expiration date, if you believe that today's silence could erase an entire generation's memory, I stand with veterans and share this video not as a favor, but as your duty. This is justice for veterans. We don't tell stories to draw tears. We tell them so the world never forgets.